Whoo, what's going on? What's going on? Always on the damn road doing something, man. Always busy. I need to relax myself. But anyway, let's get into some boxing, though. So, Tyson Fury comes out and he puts out an announcement that it's official. I mean, that he didn't say it was official. What he said was that he spoke to the prince in Saudi Arabia and that, the fight between him and Anthony Joshua is on. So, for whatever reason, a lot of people have taken that to mean that the fight is official. Everybody's all hyped, all these people are hyped up about it. Some channels are screaming, oh, it's official. This is a done deal. It's happening. And all this crazy buffoonery. It's weird. You know what I mean? It's just, we know there's an arbitration that's going on. We know that the judge hasn't made his ruling yet. We know everything depends, as far as what Tyson Fury can do, period, depends on what that judge says. We know that part, definitely. From what we know so far, we know that no proof of funds have been shown as it pertains to that fight between Tyson Fury and Anthony Joshua. And no move's going to be made whatsoever, even if they could, until the finances are there. They're in a bank, and they know, all right, we're good to go. If they don't have that, they're not moving. They're not budging. They're not signing anything. He said nothing about him signing a contract. He said nothing about Anthony Joshua signing a contract. Usually when it comes to a situation like this, with a fight of this magnitude, all the parties would just automatically make it official. Like, you'd see Anthony Joshua saying something. You'd see Tyson Fury saying something. You'd see, let's say, Matchroom, Top Rank, everybody, saying, everything's official. This is the date, this is the venue. This is how much everybody's going to be getting made, because everybody always wants to know the purses and how much you're going to get paid. That part would all kind of be put out. Press conferences are going to be held on this date, because especially in a fight of that magnitude and a short time frame, the fact that it's already in May, June, July, August, you need at least 8 months to train, 8 weeks to train. That's number one. You're going to want a big press conferences as far as in the UK and the United States. You're going to want to go down to Saudi Arabia, have press conferences over there as well. And before going back and then starting to train, and because of the time frame, you'd have to kind of get on the ball with everything. But none of that happened. None of that happened. And if anybody's been, listening to anything I've say, listen to any of my videos that I put out, one of the things that I've said is that they're gonna try to ride this thing along, and they're gonna bring it to the highest of peaks. I mean, the tip top is like a stock that's just climbing. It's like the GameStop stock. It keeps climbing. But if you understand and you know what's going on, you know that thing's going to eventually just crash to the floor. So when it gets to a certain point, you better take your money, take your earnings, or start selling as it goes up, and try to get it at that peak and get out that game as fast as possible before it crashes to the ground like a rock. That's what you want to do. That is what you want to do. So I believe that's just what this is. I believe that's what's going to happen with this particular situation. I think they're going to keep riding this. They're going to keep telling you all this stuff, and it's going to hit a certain point. And once it hits that certain point, it's going to crash like a rock. And I think that is going to be probably when the judge makes his ruling. On if this fight, on what's going on with Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder. Once that arbitrator makes his ruling, and his ruling is binding, there's no appealing, there's no going to a higher courts, nothing of that nature. Because of the contract that they signed, it's binding whatever he decides. Period. There's no getting away out of it. There's no way around it. But like I've said, let's hypothetically. Let's say the judge says Tyson Fury can fight whoever he wants to fight. Hypothetically, let's say that's what happens. I've been on record also saying this fight still does not happen. It doesn't happen. just due to the fact that I always just go by people's history and how they do business and how they move, how they operate. And everything that you've seen Matchroom do, everything that you've seen Eddie Hearn do, says 100% they would not do this fight. It just doesn't work with their business plan. And people get all emotional when you say that. I'm not talking about Anthony Joshua. I'm not talking about him. I don't think Anthony Joshua would have a problem fighting Deontay Wilder. I don't think Anthony Joshua would have a problem fighting Tyson Fury. So people who like to get onto that and hang on to that stuff, get off of it, because that's not what I'm even saying. That's not what I'm saying whatsoever when it comes to that man. I'm not saying Tyson Fury wouldn't fight, wouldn't fight Anthony Joshua. I'm not saying that at all. Because I believe he would. I believe his team actually would do this fight if it was real, because they believe he can win that fight. You know what I mean? They believe he can win that fight. So they would 100% do it. And he's basically somebody that's been rented to make money. And right now they're still in the red due to the amount of money that Matchroom and ESPN gave that man. Big time in the red. So if they can do a fight like this, absolutely. I mean, the Wilder fight, yes, that's also going to make a substantial amount of money. US pay-per-view, UK pay-per-view. The fact that you're able to have an actual gate, now, they're going to get all those funds now. So they're fine. And just with everything that happened with the first fight and the second fight, the third fight's going to be bigger. The second fight did like 800,000 pay-per-views. It's going to do 1 million. So the tickets are going to be out the roof for this fight. So... they could just do that. And if the Anthony Joshua fight doesn't happen, which I don't believe is going to happen, I don't believe they even think it's going to happen, the fight is going to go down. It's going to be Tyson Fury versus Deontay Wilder. And I said that before, and I believe Anthony Joshua is going to fight Usyk. He's going to beat Usyk. I believe Deontay Wilder is going to, him and Tyson Fury are going to fight. I believe Deontay Wilder is going to win this fight, but I could be wrong. Like I said when the last time they fought, I believe Deontay Wilder was going to win. I was like, but I wouldn't be shocked if Tyson Fury won. I wouldn't be shocked if Ortiz won, because I believe those two guys are Deontay Wilder's kryptonite. Those two guys have the style, that troubles him, that would trouble Deontay Wilder. I don't think anybody else troubles him. I don't think anybody else gives him issue. I don't think a fight between him and Anthony Joshua is a fight. Just because style makes fights. If you consistently get hit with straight right hands, you're not beating Deontay Wilder. That's just what it is. Style makes fights. Regardless of how good he is, I'm not saying he's not a skilled fighter. I just think that's one of those situations of style makes fights, and I believe his style is just completely wrong for Deontay. It's not a good matchup for him. It's not a good matchup for him. Even with Tyson Fury, he can catch Tyson Fury and put him out. Even though I believe Tyson Fury, with his movement and his size, he'll give, Anthony Joshua all kind of problems. And I believe he beats Anthony Joshua at the end of the day. I would not be shocked if Anthony Joshua put his ass to sleep. Wouldn't be shocked at all. But I still don't see that fight happening whatsoever. But we'll see. We'll see. We've heard this before. We heard it a couple of weeks ago. It's official. A couple of weeks before that, it's official. A couple of weeks before that, it's official. Tyson Fury started it all off. Cunningham, whatever, Cunningham boy, buddy boy, whatever he called him, has just set up the biggest fight in UK boxing history, a 2-fight deal between me and Anthony Joshua. That was said before. And did any fight happen? No. Nothing happened. And from that point on, we've been hearing story after story after story after story. We've been hearing next week. And last week, what did we hear? Next week. And now they have this story that everybody's just running with and riding with. But we'll see what happens. We'll see who's right when it comes to this situation. And we'll see who's wrong. But for now, like, subscribe, share, I'm out.